Day 29 of the 31 days of Halloween. We are getting closer. And today's Whatever I Want Wednesday. Hi, this is Kelly with Kelly's Creative Dream Studios. And today we are going to work with the Toil and Trouble paper pack from Stampin' Up. And now this also not only included a die set, but it included a punch. Now I prepped everything last night so I could get everything up and running this morning. So I'm going to move that. And we're going to start by gluing our background in. I don't know what that is. I'm needing to do this kind of quick this morning. I have lots to get done if I'm going to take my holiday off on Friday, which is my Wiccan New Year, where I start thinking about 2026, reflecting on 2025, all the fun stuff. And so I've got a lot of work to do in the office today. Now I'm going to start with putting the background paper. Now I love the bubbles on this. I love this background the best. I could have done the bats, but I can punch out the bats and put them along the background. So that's what I chose to do. Now I've got a roller in here somewhere. Get this pressed down. Now as I said, I prepped some stuff last night. I wanted to make sure I had everything. Now see, we have our edges there, and I'm going to come back and dust them in a minute. But what I started with last night was my Cosmic Shimmer Fluffy stuff. Now remember, this looks like just a plain old paste until you heat it with a heat gun. And then I mixed it with some of this curated alcohol and mint green. Now I wanted more of a brighter green, but I didn't have one. So you'll work with what you have, right? This edge is driving me crazy. Mine taking a little bit too much off, but that's okay. It'll work. I got to be careful because I've set my coffee cup where I usually have my little trash can cup. So I have to make sure I don't throw stuff in my coffee this morning. So I started by cutting out one of the cauldrons in green. And then I spread the top, and I cut two of them so that I had this part that I could layer on top and really have some dimension. I also cut off I punched another one and cut the flames out, plus I cut them out. So we could have those, whoops, I forgot that wasn't glued on yet. I hadn't glued that on yet. We're going to fix that here in just a second. Okay. Now we can go back and we can glue this on. Now I don't think I'm going to put a little bit of dimension here, because it sits over top of this other one and it needs something to balance that out. So I'm going to put one of the dimensionals on there. And then I'm going to use the glue for the rest of it and make sure it adheres to that other part. And I'm going to add a little bit of glue to that dimensional, just like that. And then we're going to set that on place. Now putting that dimensional on that end will help that sit. And then I'm coming back with the flames, so the flames have dimension. And we're going to come back in with the little bitty dots for those too. Now these are going to have to get cut down, and I'm going to have my glasses for these. And my sticky scissors. Now see, there's a straight edge here. I'm going to go ahead and clip that straight edge off. And give it this. As I approach the next few days, I know I'm looking at saying goodbye to my kitty cat. Spirit is 21, and while he's not been losing any weight for a while, I've got to hold this up where I can see it. While he's not been losing any weight for a while, he's down to where he's not pottying the way he should, and he's not eating as much, and his energy level is just trashed. So now I'm going to take this, and as much as I hate to say goodbye to my baby boy, I don't want him to suffer. I did that many, many years ago with another cat. I didn't know the signs of when they were really failing or didn't want to see them or something, and I swore I would never put another animal through that. So, okay, now that I've got that trimmed out and I can see where I'm at, This is going to bring some dimension to those flames, just like that. And then with all that dimension, I can glue this flat down. And that's going to be fine. Just like that. And I'm going to set that way over here as close as I can to this side, because I have other things that need to go over here. The other thing I did was I cut out the little witch. Now there was one witch in the paper that would allow you to cut her out with the witch die. And that was from the Cauldron Bubble Stamp and Die set. They now name their stamps and dies and papers all the same, which is nice. So I didn't have to stamp her or the cauldron. I just had to punch her out of the paper. Same with the cauldron and the cat. And I'm just going around and toning down that white edge around her a little bit. It's okay if she's got some black. She's standing around a cauldron. She's probably got some soots going somewhere. Okay. Now she is going to glue flat down. Now there's only one or two of these witches per paper sheet. The rest of it you're going to have to fussy cut or use a scan and cut. Okay, now I'm going to put this one right here. And she's going to be standing pretty close to that cauldron. Okay? Because, and I'm going to need to put a little bit of glue under her paw, under her hand there. Trying not to scoot out a whole lot. Because I have punched out the cat from the dies. I've die cut him out 3 different times so he has some bulk. Now I also tried to do, I was going to put little bitty wobbler eyes on him, but they don't work. So here's what we're going to do. And I didn't think to pull these out, but I'm going to use my glaze pens because when they dry with some dimension, which is really cool. And I need to make sure it's a glaze pen. Let's give him some yellow eyes because those aren't glaze pens. So let's give him yellow eyes. Now I'm going to test this before I put it on my actual cat, because I want to make sure that it's going to... Let's get a strip of the black here handy. Should have a scrap here that I can scribble on. Oh, my yellow may be burned out or maybe dried up. This is the thing with glaze pens. They do not last a long time. Okay, doesn't look like we're going to get to use the yellow. And that's why I hate to spend the money on them, because they don't last. I've got 2 more yellows here, and I have this green. So let's see what we can do. This one's got kind of a moon glow to him, so let's see what we've got there. And it may be that they just don't show up on the black as well. Yeah, that one's just not going to show up on the black. Let's try the green. Yeah, that one's nice and juicy, but again, it's not going to show up on the black. So, we're not going to be able to give our kitty cat eyes like I'd hoped. But we can glue him down. Maybe he has his eyes closed against the smoke, maybe, huh? Okay. And we're going to set him right down here beside her. Because, now, I wanted her to have some movement, so I cut out a second head. And, where's my other scissors? These. I was going to tuck that back behind her, but that doesn't work. I need to come in here like this and cut out the V of her dress. And then again, I'm going to come back in here and I'm going to dust the edges with the black soot so that they don't stand out quite so much. And then we're going to put a little put a dimensional behind her, and I think we can use one of the bigger ones. And put it right in the center of her. I have probably used dimensionals more with this series than I have in a long time. And then we're just going to go ahead and put that right there. Just like that. Now we have the bats. I'm going to put the moon on first. And what I did was I punched from, what was this one? Mango Melody, which has kind of a moon glow to it. And then I put one of those sticky Vella moons from that Paper Pumpkin Patch kit. And we're going to put it right up here. Now, before I go too much farther, guess what I need to do? I need to make sure I'm getting my corners clipped off. So we're going to come back in here really quick and clip our corners. Can you believe we only have 3? Actually, after today, we only have 2 of these left. And then Saturday, there will be a video flip through of all the tags. Okay, so there's that. Now I have some bats here, and I want to do 3. And there are 3 different styles that you can punch from that punch. This one here. Now I have linked this in another video, and if I remember, I will go back and do that. So I have 3 of those, but I want 1 of each. So I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to do this, I think. But I don't want all that white around there, so I'm going to come in, and I'm going to fussy cut those off. And I'm going to sit down to do that, so give me a minute to move some stuff here, because I had everything piled on my chair behind me. And we're going to go through and we're going to fussy cut these edges off. Just get some of the white out of the way before we dust them. We could dust them with the ink, but it's still going to show. So I'm just going to come in here and I'm going to try and snip off as much as I can. Nothing fancy. Today is also What's on Your Work Desk Wednesday. If you have a blog where you showcase what you make, love to have you join us. It's very simple. Every Wednesday morning we show what is on our desk, what we're working on, and we link it with our host page, which is Sarah's Craft Shed. I'll spit it out in a minute. You know what I mean. Now, getting around these bat wings is not easy. I probably should have used my pen. Might have been a little easier, but that's okay. Sometimes the scissors are just right out of the gate. Okay. I hope any of my viewers have friends or family in Jamaica, that everyone is safe. We are not over this weather front yet, so be safe. The best thing you can do is be prepared. Know how these things work. Know if you're in a danger zone and what you need to do to keep your family safe. Do you have enough water to sustain you with grid downs, no water options, contaminated water? Do you have easy-to-fix foods in a no-power situation? I am blessed. I won't have anything but a gas stove, and I would not live anywhere where I cannot have a gas stove. So that I can always cook. I might not be able to bake, but I can cook. We also have a charcoal grill. And we have a fire pit. So I can always provide us with food. I have plenty of the necessities on hand. There are canned foods you can eat without having to cook. Tuna, chicken, Spam. You can also eat some vegetables fresh out of the can. They would taste better warmed up, granted, but you can eat things like peas, corn, creamed corn, beans and weenies from Vandekamp. And if your freezer, if you're out of power and you have a freezer and you don't want to lose everything, cover your refrigerator and your freezer with a quilt or a heavy blanket and stay out of them. They will retain their cold for up to 4 days before you need to start thinking about an alternative for what you're going to do with all that food in the freezer. You don't have to lose it just because you're without power for a couple of days. It's not like that. I wish they still taught stuff like that in school. I learned that trick in 2nd grade in tornado preparedness, of all things. Okay, now I'm going to run my little sweeper tool here really quick and get all those little bat trimmings up out of the way. I think this is about ready to be dumped. Okay, and now we have that. Now we can come back in and do our bats. And I wanted this one above the moon. Now I'm going to have to dust these yet with the black soot. We're going to do that really fast because I want to get this one done. I've already pulled out. I decided I wanted another pop of color on here, and it wasn't going to be green. I have the green, and I've got all the green in the background, but what I want is some purple. I want some purple. And we'll get some of this black on these bats. Just like that. Okay, so there's our bats. Our moon is in place. I'm going to put this bigger bat. Let's put him above against the moon, I think. Just because he's bigger, let's give him a higher place in society. Just like that. Let him go against the moon. And then I'm going to come in with this one. And he is just taking flight. He is just taking flight above. He had swooped down and checked out, see what the cauldron was all about. Now he's taken off. And this one, he was down there first. So he's got a little bit more wind under his wings. And he can go just like that. Now, I'm going to come back. I have this pop of this purple, and I'm going to do it on the fold, just like that. I should have set this up to where I was pressing this first this morning, and I may come back and press it, but I want to come in with, get our tails cut. I know there was another tail there somewhere. There it is. And I'm going to glue this. And I think I'm going to use my craft glue because it will be faster. So let's pull our craft glue out here. Find my brush. My little one. And because this dries clear, I don't have to worry about that. So I'm going to go ahead and just brush a little bit there. And then I'm going to fold it at an angle, and it will dry just like that. And then I'm going to come back in, and I really want the glue on the top of there, but I've got a lot of glue right there. So we're going to do that. Now some of that glue will seep through the ribbon and help with the adhesion, and that's fine. And then I'm going to put this on it and let it sit for just a minute while we put this away. Our press and seal is starting to no longer be a press and seal. I'm going to have to put a new sheet on here. But that's about ready to be filled too, so we're good. Okay, so that is it for our whatever I want to do Wednesday, which is day 29 of the 31 days of Halloween. Let me know what you think. Oh, while we're here, let's get ready to say goodbye. Please remember to like, to share, subscribe, and as always, spooky creative blessings.